This video is about a single sentence, a casual throwaway mockery that unraveled a billion-dollar empire in less time than it takes to drink a cup of coffee. It's a story about how power doesn't just corrupt, it makes you dangerously blind. Picture the scene, a sterile boardroom, 40 floors above the city. Arthur Thompson, the empire's builder, stands pale and trembling as a board that won't meet his gaze delivers the final verdict. His eyes, frantic for an explanation, land on the one person who shouldn't be there. In the corner, holding a dustpan, stands Mr. Chen, the janitor, watching with an unnerving calm. This wasn't a firing, it was an execution. So how did a quiet janitor topple a corporate giant? In this video, we will reveal the janitor's true identity, the 5-word insult that acted like a poison pill, and the fatal error that made Thompson's removal not just possible, but inevitable. If you've ever believed that the quietest people in the room hold all the cards, stick with me. The real power play is the one that happens in complete silence. But before we reveal how this corporate execution was orchestrated, there are 3 key pieces to this puzzle you need to watch for. First, the true identity of Mr. Chen. He wasn't just a cleaner, he was the silent auditor of the entire corporation, a ghost in the machine who saw everything Thompson thought was hidden. Second, the exact venomous words Thompson spat at him minutes before this meeting. It wasn't just an insult, it was a self-destruct button, a phrase so loaded with arrogance it triggered a silent alarm system Thompson never knew existed. And finally, the fatal error Thompson made, a misunderstanding of where real power truly lies. It's a lesson that costs the arrogant everything. But before we unpack this, I want to ask you something. Drop your answer in the comments. Is a person's character ultimately more important than their skills? Let me know what you think, and let's get into it. To understand the execution, we must understand the crime. And the crime wasn't financial, it was human. Let's rewind a few hours. Arthur Thompson didn't walk through his lobby, he conquered it. Employees would stiffen, their morning coffee suddenly tasting of anxiety. He was the king, and this was his court. And in this temple of ambition, Mr. Chen was a ghost. His uniform was a cloak of invisibility, allowing the powerful to pretend he didn't exist. On this morning, Thompson was on his phone, mentally rehearsing his pitch for a career-defining meeting. A consortium of mysterious foreign investors was waiting, a deal that could turn his empire into a dynasty. He was so lost in his own future that he failed to notice the present. The collision was sudden and mundane. He rounded a corner and walked straight into Mr. Chen and his cleaning cart. Thompson's coffee cup flew from his hand, a dark stain blooming across his $1,000 suit. A single moment of chaos in his perfectly ordered world. Mr. Chen's face went pale. He bowed his head, fumbling for words. "So sorry, sir. Very sorry. Clean," he stammered, reaching for a cloth, his hands trembling. This is where a simple accident becomes a fatal test of character. Thompson's face twisted. The mask of ambition shattered, replaced by a snarl of pure disgust. He didn't shout, he hissed, his voice slicing through the quiet corridor, loud enough for a junior executive to freeze in her tracks. "Clean. Can you even speak the language of the people whose floors you scrub?" That was the sentence. It wasn't just an insult, it was a verdict. Thompson had judged Mr. Chen as worthless, a non-entity. He had no idea that in that very moment, he was the one being judged, and he had just failed spectacularly. Thompson strode into the boardroom, wearing the smile of a man who never loses. But the air inside wasn't charged with anticipation, It was clinically cold. The investors offered only clipped nods, no handshakes. He dismissed it as a negotiation tactic, not realizing the game was already over. He launched into his presentation, but was cut off before his first slide. One of the investors, a man with eyes that seemed to see right through him, raised a hand. His question had nothing to do with market share. "Mr. Thompson," he asked, "could you tell us about the people who clean these floors?" Thompson was stunned. He stammered a polished, generic answer about valuing all team members. The words hung in the air, hollow and false. They didn't care about his 5-year plan. They cared about his character. With each question, his confidence crumbled. He was no longer the king. He was a specimen under a microscope. If you've made it this far, it's because this kind of quiet arrogance bothers you. Hold on to that feeling, because the most disturbing detail is yet to come. Just as Thompson opened his mouth to offer another empty platitude, the lead investor raised a hand, a gesture of polite, absolute finality. "Thank you, Mr. Thompson. That's quite enough." He then turned to his colleagues. "I believe it is time we consult with our most trusted local advisor on this matter." The silence in the room became a physical weight. The door handle turned with a quiet, metallic click that sounded like a gunshot. The door swung open, and Mr. Chen walked in. He wasn't in his gray janitor's uniform. He was dressed in a perfectly tailored dark suit, his posture straight and commanding. He didn't even glance at Thompson. His calm, perceptive eyes met those of the lead investor, and he gave a slight, imperceptible nod. The investors, in turn, all inclined their heads in a gesture of profound respect. Thompson's world tilted on its axis. His mind struggled to connect the two images, the stammering man with the cleaning cart and this silent figure who commanded the respect of billionaires. The insult he had hurled, "Can you even speak the language?" echoed in his skull. The man whose existence he had dismissed was not just a janitor. He was the gatekeeper, the final judge. Thompson realized with a wave of cold nausea that his entire presentation was a charade. The real meeting had ended in the hallway, with a splash of spilled coffee and 5 words of pure contempt. Then the investors began to speak, not in English, but in fluid, rapid Mandarin. The words were soft, yet they landed like iron weights, creating a wall of sound that Thompson could not penetrate. He was an exile in his own kingdom. All the weapons in his arsenal, his net worth, his network, his aura of intimidation, dissolved into nothing. And here's the most terrifying part. His entire future now rested on the silent judgment of the man whose humanity he had mocked. He looked at Mr. Chen, but found only a calm, unreadable gaze. For Arthur Thompson, it was over. The silence was finally broken by the lead investor. He turned from Mr. Chen, his face a mask of cold disappointment, and spoke to Thompson in crisp, perfect English. "You seem confused, Mr. Thompson." He paused, letting the words hang in the dead air. He gestured with an open palm towards the man in the tailored suit. "This man, whose language you questioned, Mr. Chen." is my father." The words dissolved reality. Thompson's mind short-circuited. The man he'd treated like dirt was the patriarch of the very dynasty he was trying to court. "My father," the investor continued, his voice cutting like glass, "believes you can tell everything about a leader by how they treat those they have no obligation to impress. He wanted to evaluate your character firsthand." Thompson, desperate and broken, finally found his voice. It was a pathetic, cracking sound. I had no idea. Please, tell him I am deeply sorry." But Mr. Chen simply raised a hand, stopping his son from translating the empty apology. He looked at Thompson for the first and last time, his eyes holding no anger, only a profound, quiet sadness. He spoke a few soft words in Mandarin to his son. The son listened, nodded, and turned back to Thompson, his expression now unreadable stone. He translated his father's verdict, the words falling like the blade of a guillotine. "The deal is cancelled." In that crushing silence, the puzzle pieces click into place. The janitor's secret identity? The patriarch, the moral foundation of the investment group, acting as the final, silent evaluator. The venomous words? The final, irrefutable data point in that test, proving that beneath the veneer of success was a man who built his kingdom on contempt. And Thompson's fatal, blinding error? It was the unshakable belief that a person's status defines their value. He saw a uniform, not a man. He fundamentally misunderstood that true power isn't in a title, but in the respect you give when no one is watching. The janitor didn't topple the giant. The giant, blinded by his own reflection, simply walked off a cliff he refused to see was there. Thompson's empire wasn't toppled by a rival, it was shattered by the weight of his own arrogance, by a man who saw the truth from behind a dustpan. This story proves how a single secret about a person can dismantle an empire built on illusion. But what happens when the secret is not a man, but a machine? An idea so profound it threatens the very foundations of our world? A personal secret can cost a billionaire his company. A technological secret, however, can cost humanity its future. In our next video, we investigate the one invention Nikola Tesla created that was so dangerous, the powers that be tried to erase it from history forever. If you think the justice served in that boardroom was shocking, prepare yourself for a conspiracy that spans a century. Click the video on your screen now to see the invention that could have changed everything and discover why you were never supposed to know it existed.